Hey guys, it's Danny. Today I'm going to show you a few exciting developments in my orchid room here. Fun fact, we're still calling it a greenhouse even though it's just the bedroom with plants. If I say throughout this video or ever greenhouse, yet it's a bedroom, just bear with me. I never had a greenhouse per se, but we kept calling the plant room a greenhouse. Anyway, what a tangent I went on. Right, so today I'm just gonna take you on, well, it's not gonna be a tour, but I'm gonna show you some developments. If you remember the last time I showed you this room or I talked to you about my orchids, I was telling you that some were just so dehydrated and they kind of suffered as well. Well, they're bouncing back. They didn't suffer as much as I thought. They were just dehydrated. They plumped back up and now they're budding. So I'm going to show you a few of these things. Some of them are first-time bloomers. Some of them are my typical orchids. Yeah, just a feel-good video showing you how my orchids are doing. Right, so before we start, let me address something really quick. When I did the garden video, I forgot to mention that yes, I will plant some spaces outside for the Cattleyas or the heat-tolerant orchids, but they will come once we first build that pergola against the white wall that I talked to you about, which hopefully is going to be done this winter, but we'll see. And second, once the citrus trees grow a little bit and they bushen up a little bit so that they provide some dappled shade there, which will be beneficial for the rose alley as well and everybody on that side because the sun will be behind us. So theoretically, as the trees grow and bushen up, they should cast a really nice shade on that wall side, right? So it's in the works, but now everything is just so bare and uncovered and we're out of budget that I can't really keep the orchids outside in any place because they will get burned if I try to give them even the slightest sun. Whatever location has a little bit of sun, it has sun all day, pretty much. So they will be scorched. I did lose an orchid though. I placed my orchid trays outside when I moved them and I forgot one next to the tray and the sun came and it scorched it. Luckily, I have it. Again, it was a double. I don't know how luck worked, but yeah, it was the Salmon Queen Cattleya. I had it twice. Last one, still have the other, no worries. Right, so without further ado, let's just get to the orchids that are budding or doing something nice lately. Let's start with the Habenarias. What do we have here? Could this be buds? Yes, indeed. This is the Habenaria carnea that has the wonderful leaves. And through some sort of miracle, I managed not to kill it this year. Although, if you remember, I did manage to break its corm. I know better now, and the next time that I'm gonna pot it or repot it, I will be extra careful with the corm. And even if I don't see it or I believe it's not alive, I will keep in mind that it is alive and I should just be gentle with the corm. Same for the Habenaria rhodosticta. Here, she has started to produce some buds, as you can see on the tops of these growths. She has many growths in various stages of development. I don't know if all of them will bloom. Yet again, considering that I damaged the corm on this one as well, I shall forever be known as the Habenaria killer. It is what it is. Habenarias have that underground corm. They're terrestrial orchids, by the way, if you're new to Habenarias. And they're deciduous in the sense that the entire plant dies, kinda, every year. Everything just melts. And then you need to keep these orchids dry, completely dry, almost, until springtime, until growth starts to sprout again. And I got a little impatient and I didn't see any growth, but the growth was there. It was just in between the sphagnum moss strands. And as I was looking for the growth and removing the pieces of sphagnum moss, yes, I removed pieces of the corms or the new growths. Anyway, so if you ever intend to purchase Habenarias, be very careful when you repot or when you do something with the corm. They are pretty sensitive and fragile. Down here, this is a very nice surprise. This is a Dendrobium. It's a Dendrobium Phalaenopsis type, but it's a very tiny one. Might be a Vigibum variety or maybe a primary hybrid. I don't know why I'm digging for the tag because there's nothing on the tag. This is a no ID Dendrobium that I purchased from the Netherlands the first time I went 2 years ago. and it didn't actually bloom ever since then. It didn't do anything because I had a major infestation of thrips on it, which almost took it out. Dendrobiums are pest magnets like nothing else, and I've been careful in the past years, and it bounced back, but it was very set back. Luckily though, these canes are tall enough to bloom. And finally, we shall see how the flowers look like, because when I purchased it, it was in a tray of other Dendrobiums, none of them with flowers. This one had a spent almost flower. Do you remember that video? I'll insert some footage if I can find it. I don't remember if I had a good flower on it or a spent flower or something. I had something on it, but it wasn't very conclusive. So I'm curious to know what color and what pattern this is. If it's white and purple and magenta, what is it? It has tiny flowers, the tiny flower one, but I'm very excited to have it in bloom finally. Okay, here next to this little guy, we have a Rupiculus Laelia. This is Rupestris Hoffmann. Ooh, something. I'll put it on the screen. Finally, we have a little sheath. Now, will the sheath produce a bud? I don't know. It's always a mystery with these sheaths. But it's the first time it produces a sheath, so that's great. I purchased this one, I think, last year, if I remember correctly, in one of my hauls. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, never saw it in bloom. It will be a first-time bloomer if it decides to grow a spike, but nothing is for sure. First-time bloomers are a little bit finicky, a little temperamental. Do I see buds in this one? No, it's just the sheath. Let's not show the sheath because it's not for sure. Let me just show you a little bit my grace done that I received from the wonderful Maya. Look how big she grew. The story with this one, if you missed it, because it was imported from Brazil, from the southern hemisphere actually, it took its sweet time to wake up this summer. And it did so about a month ago, finally, and now it's September. So it has to season a little bit, quote unquote. I like to say season. It kind of sounds like I'm seasoning a salad, right? Yeah, it has to, let's say, get used to my seasons and get into the rhythm that my climate has. It will happen slowly in years. But her luck is that I have very long summers, so it's still very warm. She still has a lot of warmth and light to grow. Winter is very bright here anyway, but look at her. Do you think she's gonna bloom this year? I really hope so. I'm doing my best. My Catasetums are models this year. You're gonna see I did good with the Catasetums. Again, pest control, that was the key. So very excited about this one because I feel like she's gonna be my all-time favorite Catasetum type orchid. She's not a Catasetum per se, she is a Cloacia, there we go. But I like to call these guys Catasetum types. It just flows better, it rolls down the tongue better. I feel like Tolumnia season is yet to arrive. Usually my Tolumnias are starting to produce flower spikes maybe at the beginning of the year, maybe in January, February, or at the end of the year. Right now, we did a lot of vegetative growth. Everybody's looking very green. There are no flower spikes, but I feel like they're starting to season in a way where they bloom at the end of the year or at the beginning, in winter at least for me. Anybody else in the Northern Hemisphere, did you guys observed any season for Tolumnias? Because mine kind of bloom in the winter for me. Now they're very green, vegetative growth, which is great, supports spikes, but no blooms. And when they do bloom, they kind of all bloom all together. So that's why I'm saying maybe they do have a bit of a season. Here, all throughout the summer, my cucullata, my Brassavola cucullata bloomed non-stop from this cane. She had like 6-7 flowers from this cane. I constantly spray some isopropyl alcohol because I have a few mealybugs in here, but they kind of always come back there. I need to be more on top of that. But yeah, it's always blooming from here, which is very fun. Next to her we have, is this the Sunspots? Yeah, I will put the name. A wonderful Brassavola hybrid, blooms all the time. We have 2 flower spikes now. And yes, this flower is on the same orchid as this. But when they first open, the flowers, are you overexposed? Is this better? I'm sorry, the Barinas are very pink. Right, so the flowers, when they first open, they're a little bit more purple, and as they age, they become more goldeny. She's a color changer, and she's also fragrant at night. Very, very nice orchid. I do recommend it. Very vigorous grower. Blooms on each new growth multiple times a year. We talked about her a lot. Down below, and now you're underexposed. Oh dear, oh dear. Right, down below, we have an oldie but goldie. I just tidied it up a little bit. The sun is kind of hitting a little bit this area, which is great. This is the Cattleya Burana Beauty, and we have spikes and buds on both the latest growth and the second to latest growth. Look at this. If I manage not to break them, that'd be nice. So this growth had this sheath for 6 months or so, and I thought nothing will sprout, which is weird because this one is a very reliable bloomer and a vigorous grower. But there you go. She waited for this spike to produce buds, I guess. Why would she do that? I don't know. She doesn't always do this. It's just the thing Cattleyas do sometimes. They don't always behave the same year after year, especially complex hybrids. So this is not something uncommon, but it's also not very common. Anyway, the better the bloom show, the happier I am. So I'm good with her. Anything else here? And maybe a sheath here. We're not going to look at sheaths because they don't really mean anything. Unless there's buds in the sheaths, there's nothing, pretty much. Let's tone down again the brightness. Right, so here we have the golden peacock. She had another spike in the back. I think she's kind of done. She has been in bloom for a million years. She's always in bloom, kind of like the sunspots. Very vigorous grower, continuous grower as well. And I think on this alley, that is pretty much it. But what do we have here? Should we take a look at the Catasetums? Let's shell. By the way, this Vittsjo is not full of orchids yet. I need to move stuff around. Still in the process. By the way, a small note. Do you remember I told you that I want to create the large shelf on the bottom and then the two tinier shelves on the top because it just makes more sense. I can see the orchids better. Whereas, let me try not to give you a headache. Whereas on this side, do you see the small shelves? They're on the bottom and the big shelf is on the top. And on the bottom, if I stand here, what orchids do we have on the lower shelf? No one knows because no one can see them. Yeah, that's a boo-boo on my part and I'm starting to resolve it slowly because I need to partially disassemble the shelves and sometimes I'm just not in the mood. But yeah, look at that. I already did it to this shelf and it looks so much better and it just makes sense. Where was I going with this? Yes, I need to fill the shelves and I'm not yet still decided where everybody goes. But anyway, Catasetums. What do we have here? Is this a flower spike? Yes. Look at it. A beautiful flower spike. Do we have another? Maybe we'll have another throughout the season. This is Cycnotus Wine Delight, the variegated form, which is just as nice and vigorous as the non-variegated form. I don't see any ill effect of the variegation. The flowers, again, should be identical. They should smell identical and I cannot wait to see it because the smell of this is absolutely fantastic and unique. It's not to everybody's liking, I do believe so, because to me it smells like a pharmacy, but in the good way. It smells like vitamins. Very artificial, but very nice at the same time. So I cannot wait for the flowers. I haven't seen Catasetum flowers in a million years because of the bugs. This year though, I did good. These guys, this one is the black one, the Millennium Magic. She has a bud, which is a flower bud, just breaking here. She's taking a little break though, so I'm not sure what that's about. Maybe she will bloom this year, maybe not. The recovery on her though, look at that. From this little tiny guy to this, that's quite the recovery. And this is the other black Catasetum. What's your name? Fred Clarkiara. Yeah, there we go. I don't see any buds on this one either, but they can actually bloom later in the season. The first one to bloom always in my collection was the Cycnotus Wine Delight. Always, always, always. So I'm not surprised he's blooming. The others might be just a little late. Fingers crossed they will bloom as well. But yes, you guys, look at that. I did good with the Catasetums, finally. Woohoo! Okay, this side will be a little bit more awkward to film because of this nonsense with the shelves here, but we're gonna give it a go. First little Cattleya that we have here is the wonderful, wonderful King Ming Beauty. This is an orchid that looks like a rose and smells like a rose, identical one-to-one. If I had a rose, like a very fragrant rose in front of me and this one, and I would smell them blindfolded, I don't think I could tell which one is the orchid. That's how wonderful this one smells. And we have a little bud here. Do we have two? I don't know. This one actually formed as we were moving, so maybe there was another bud inside, but maybe it got dried. You know, I'm expecting it. These guys at some point were not watered for more than 2 weeks, and in this heat they transpire a lot. Cattleyas are very drought tolerant, but they also do have a limit, especially when it's very, very, very hot. And I moved house like in the middle of summer in August and it was extremely hot, so everybody took a hit. Some just lost roots. This one, it lost a lot of roots. That guy is not plumping up at all, but we do have new roots, so we're good. But yeah, some of these really didn't take it so well. So I would not be surprised if some of these guys, did have 2 buds or more, but some of them dried. This is what orchids do. Sometimes they do give up non-essential structures in order to preserve themselves. Right. What do we have here? This is a first-time bloomer. This is the Cattleya Monte Elegante that I purchased as a young orchid. You can see here in the back. And this is her first cane. That is, I didn't think it was mature or blooming size, but I think it is. Not the greatest of shows, but again, it is to be expected. First-time bloomers are a little wonky, especially if their pseudobulbs are not completely mature yet. So I'm okay with 1 flower, but this one is a cluster bloomer. It can produce upwards of 8 flowers or more on a cluster. You can Google it to see how it looks like. It's an orchid I used to have before, but I lost. I don't remember why. Maybe fusarium, maybe mites. I don't remember why I lost it. It was many years ago. So I had to repurchase it, and the only one I could find was a young orchid. Not really a seedling, but quite a young orchid, and this is the first time it blooms, so I'm extremely excited. Now, this is quite the first time bloomer for me. It's a newer orchid. This is BLC Giselle Bunchkin. Now, this one did have a flower last year, but I didn't catch it, or something happened to the flower. I didn't see it. You can see the flower spike there. It was the very first bloom, even though there is a sheath here. It's a blank sheath. That's why I'm saying sheaths don't mean anything. So yeah, it was that sheath that didn't do anything. Then that one, there's not even a sheath there, it's just the flower spike. That one was wonky as well. And finally, this year we have a nice, very large pseudobulb and leaf with a full sheath and also buds inside. Can we see the little shadow? If I'm not mistaken, this orchid should be yellow, a beautiful yellow Cattleya, which are some of my favorites, yellow Cattleyas. Absolutely fantastic. Golden yellow Cattleyas. Oh my goodness, I love them. I'll tell you a little secret. You know how I always say that pink orchids are not really to my liking because, I don't know why, because they're just so common? Well, it kind of only applies to Phalaenopsis, although lately not even. I'm starting to turn. I kind of do like pink orchids, but that really nice warm pink or baby pink. I don't know how to describe it. Not the cool toned one that looks more purpley, a very cool toned purple. That one I still don't like. But the beautiful contrast between white and pink, oh, it's so beautiful. And when it comes to the garden as well, flowers in the garden, pink is absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I used to prefer red and orange. Now I have a lot of red and orange, so I'm good with that. I'm kind of craving pink. Isn't that funny how we sometimes change our preferences depending on our age and what we go through, right? So here we have the, oh yay, I thought it dried, but it's here, the bud is here. This is the fireworks. Oh no, I don't even have your tag. Where is it? Oh, it fell. There we are. Hyacinth U Gold Coast fireworks. this one should be good because the pseudobulb is quite large. It is again a cluster bloomer. We had it in bloom a million times, but I can never get enough of her because she's so beautiful. I need to move her from here because the flower spike will hit the ceiling, probably, most likely. Here we have an orchid that always blooms, and I'm hoping this time it will have a good bloom because last year it had mealybugs and the blooms did not look good. So this is the Orchidacea's Primeiro Amor Red, what was that accent? Sorry. Oh my gosh. Primeiro Amor Red Star. Sometimes the languages get jungled. Oh my gosh, I can't. Can I talk? No. You know what I'm saying? They get mixed up in my brain and sometimes all sorts of accents come out of me without me controlling them. So this one bloomed before, but again, was it mealybugs? I think it was mealybugs. They got eaten a little bit by mealybugs. I got her last year and I think it arrived with mealybugs actually on the flower, on the sheath. Did it come with a sheath? I don't remember. So I'm really looking forward to the flowers this year because there are no more mealybugs on her. So hoping she'll put on a wonderful show. And lastly, here are some summer blooming Phalaenopsis. This is the wonderful Bellina. I have her for so many years now. This one is Fluorescence crossed with Violacea. And this one is the Linden Mix. This is not their permanent space, but again, I'm not sure exactly how I want things arranged. So far they're sitting there. They're low light orchids anyway, so they will not fuss too much. And other than that, there are quite a few other sheaths and stuff, but I'm done speaking beforehand. I always tell you guys, look at this one, it's gonna bloom, look, it has a flower spike, the little kitten, the little seedling has a flower spike, it will bloom. It doesn't, because it's a first bloom and the bud blasts. So I don't wanna do that anymore. When I see the bud, I will tell you about it. But if there is no bud, there is no point in showing it to you. Right, so that is about it on the tour. Let me just show you a few updates. I brought my carpet here from my old apartment and it's not very bright. I'm hoping it will help a little bit with the echo here. Let me know in the comments, is it that bad? Now I feel it's good, but I tried to do some voiceovers this week or last week, depending when I'm uploading this, and it was horrifying. So the narration that I did for the garden, I did it in the bedroom because this room was just so echoey. I'm hoping now it is better. Now, here it is better, but if I sit like at the desk, which is further behind in between the door and the window, all of a sudden I feel like it's more echoey here. So I got a blanket to put on the door just in case things are still echoey. But yeah, I'm doing my best. I feel like it's getting better. You remember the old greenhouse? It was echoey beyond belief at the beginning, but then I made it better. So yeah, slowly but surely I'm gonna fix these issues as well. But for today, that is about it. By the way, the Phalaenopsis here, they will not sit here because look at this amazing sunshine. Cattleyas will need to sit here, but I thought I liked them there. I don't. I'm gonna put them in a lower light situation, probably here. And also, before I let you go, as Maya pointed out, yes, I do have some more orchids throughout the house, in one place actually, which I didn't include in the tour of this room because I completely forgot. But there is a space right at the top of my staircase that receives western sun or western light. So there I have the maxillarias and my wonderful specimen-sized already amethyst, Brassavola or Cattleya amethyst, and also my monstera. That is a place for giant orchids because this room is too tiny for them, and I think they will do great there because they have great light, and I don't do anything special for humidity or anything of the sort. So that's where they are. Great observation. So that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. How are your orchids doing? Let me know what you're working on and what type of content you would like to see in the following weeks. I will be honest with you, I kind of focused a little bit on the garden because I just couldn't bear seeing it so bare, as it were. So I'm just going at flower shops, and whenever I see something interesting, I get it. I got an amazing plumeria And I also got an amazing jasmine. Many of you recommended in that video to get jasmine. Yes, it is on my wish list, but it has to appear. The ones that I want, they have to appear in flower shops. But yeah, jasmine does absolutely fantastic here as well, and it's absolutely gorgeous and fragrant. And I found a sambac jasmine, and I cannot wait to show it to you. So yeah, I've kind of been focusing more on that than on the orchids. But I will make orchid content, don't worry. I hope you've enjoyed today's chill type of video, and I'll be back with proper tutorials very soon. So thank you so much for joining me and hanging with me today. I hope it's not a very long video. And of course, if you did enjoy this video, I forgot my little poem. Subscribe. If you want to become a member, check out the merch, all of that stuff. I forgot my little poem. But yeah, if you do enjoy, most importantly, just subscribe to my channel. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.